Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Q&A video. So this is the segment every month. I didn't do it last month, so this kind of counts as the June month. So if you have any questions for the next Q&A, definitely ask them in this video. Use the format Q&A or question and answer, so I know you're asking me a question for this video, and I will try to include it. Again, it's impossible for me to include every single question I get, and I do apologize if I missed your question, but hopefully I will get to as many as I can, and hopefully I answer your questions. So anyway, thank you guys for asking me all these questions, and I usually start this video off with either like an announcement or a really good question that I think I got. That's a good way to title the video, but instead I wanted to thank you guys sincerely from the bottom of my heart. This is actually the perfect day to upload a video like this because July 10th, 2016 is when I created Yugioh Everything, and the day I am uploading this is July 10th, 2017. So this is the exact 1 year anniversary. It's crazy how quickly time flies of Yugioh Everything being up and running, and it's no coincidence that today we hit 20,000 subscribers. I don't know what the odds of that hitting 20,000 on the day that, on the 1 year anniversary of the channel coming up, but the odds of that were so astronomical, mainly because I never really thought that I would hit 20,000 subscribers. I never thought I'd hit something like 5,000. 5,000 was kind of like an end goal for me. If I hit 5,000 after like 2 years and college ended, I'd be like, all right, well, time to throw it in. I'm glad I hit 5. And to think that in 1 year, the channel hit 20,000 subscribers is absolutely absurd, and I just cannot thank you guys enough for what's been an incredible first year. I've met a lot of amazing people in the community, and it's just been incredible. It really has been incredible. 1 year, 200 videos, 20,000 subscribers. I couldn't have asked for a better year. I couldn't have asked to be part of a better community, and it just, it really leaves me speechless. It really does leave me speechless, honestly. So again, just wanted to sincerely thank you guys and look forward to the future, because this next year, it might be my last year because I do graduate college in May. That is 10 months away, but I'm not sure what really the future holds for me after that. If the channel has maybe doubled or tripled in support, which would be, I think, kind of impossible, but let's say hypothetically it does happen, I might look to try to do this as full-time as possible. But if the channel maybe only increases by 50% or so, you know, it's just tough to do YouTube full-time. And when I graduate college, if I get a 40-hour-a-week job, I'm definitely not going to be able to really do this as consistently. At a bare minimum, I would still like to do Vrains reviews for the next couple of years. That might be the only thing this channel becomes, though, in 10 months. Hopefully not. I'm going to really try to kick ass these next 10 months and just bang out as much content, as much quality content as possible. I'm not one of those people that, you know, is going to make, you know, half-ass content. You know, I don't think you guys deserve that. I don't think you guys want to see that. So I'll try to think up some really good theories. I'll try to think up some really good top 10 lists and stuff like that. And if you guys have any suggestions for videos, please let me know down below. So it should be a very fun 10 months, and let's just make it a memorable one. And you guys have done that really amazingly. And it's just, you know, not to go on a long rant here to start the video, but I never ask in my videos to subscribe. I never say like, comment, and subscribe. You know, I really don't. You can go back. I never ask people to like my videos. I never ask people to subscribe. Doing so means the world to me, of course, but I felt like I never really wanted to pressure the person viewing my content into doing that, into liking my video or subscribing to my channel. I figured if they wanted to do that, they would do that. They know I appreciate it, and yeah. But I always say comment down below. I always say leave your thoughts down below, because to me, a comment means so much more than a number. It means so much more than how many likes I've gotten or how many subscribers I have. And I really do take pride in how many people, especially on the reviews, will comment on my videos. My reviews will get maybe 4,000 or 5,000 views, and I'll have like 600-700 comments from people. It's just, it's a crazy number to think how interactive the people that watch my content is, and that's what I've always set out to do. I've always set out to create a community where people can comment their thoughts down below, as crazy as they want to be, you know, because I'm the king of crazy crack theories, and feel comfortable in doing so, and just create that kind of environment. And the fact that you guys have helped me, obviously I'd be nowhere without you guys, helped me create what my goal was, to create an environment like that where we can just talk endlessly about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Theories and Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters and Yu-Gi-Oh! Plot lines. It really is amazing. It really is amazing. So Again, thank you guys so much. I don't mean to go on a tangent here. I'm sorry, I just took 5 minutes of your time before this video. I will have timestamps down below. Also, you might notice I'm doing this a little differently now. I will be using Mario Kart 8 Deluxe footage from the Nintendo Switch. If anyone has a Nintendo Switch and wants to add me, I will leave my code down below. I'll probably tweet out times that I'm going to be online. If you ever see me playing online, chances are I could be recording, so definitely feel free to just hop in, and yeah, you might be featured in the videos of one of these Q&As, since I know a lot of people just like to put them on in their car or put them on an iPad and just listen to it for 45 minutes, 50 minutes while they're gaming or grinding on a game, or that's usually what I do with long videos. Most people don't really watch the footage, so instead of me editing pictures and such, I just figured I'll just have Mario Kart footage and I'll have the questions down below. Since I am getting more used to Camtasia, I've upgraded from Windows Movie Maker, which, believe it or not, that is what I used for quite some time. So anyway, let's get to the questions. Orichalco's Duelist Sealed Stone asks, I have a question for your Q&A. What do you suppose would happen if Yusaku actually loses a duel to an important character, and how would the public act if they saw Playmaker lose? Well, it's a good question. I think that I hope Yusaku will lose, because if he doesn't lose to Revolver, there's no character right now, unless they introduce a new character, that I could possibly see him losing to. If he loses... See, it's weird. We don't know how the public feels about Playmaker, because obviously Akira blamed Playmaker for what happened to Aoi. It never really got covered on how the public feels about Playmaker, if they blame Playmaker for what happened to Aoi, similar to how Akira blames him. So they might already be losing faith in Playmaker. If they're not, though, I think shock would be the best word to describe it. I think they would be shocked, especially if he loses this duel, where we know the setting is going to be like hell. That's how Kusanagi described it in the Episode 9 preview. If he loses this duel, a duel that maybe seems apocalyptic, people are probably going to have a hard time believing in something. They're probably going to have a hard time finding hope in a character like they did in Yusaku, like they did in Playmaker. So I think shocked, I think worried, and I think panicked are all really good verbs you could use to describe, not verbs, Jesus, are all really good adjectives you could use to describe the audience and the public's feeling on if Yusaku loses. And I think the viewer would be a little stunned too. If Yusaku loses to Revolver, I don't really see him winning this next duel, but I would still be shocked. Anytime a main character loses, I'm always very surprised. So, yeah, that'll be a very interesting dynamic to see how the audience does react to him maybe losing to Revolver or losing to someone in the next coming weeks. Dwayne Johnson asks, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains has been a major success so far. I hope they keep up the good job. 1, will Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains surpass 5Ds? Well, that's a very subjective question, because to ask that, 5Ds has to be your favorite show. To me, it's one of my favorite shows. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains can surpass any Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought that about Arc 5. I thought that about ZeXal. I think that about every single Yu-Gi-Oh! That I want to see the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime we have seen, but there are people that there are people that I know hate 5Ds. So they'll say, oh, as long as Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is, a 4 out of 10, I'll like it more than Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. To me, for it to surpass 5Ds, for it to surpass Duel Monsters, it needs to keep up at this level. The first 8 episodes, it's hard for anyone to argue, even though, again, it is opinion. The mass opinion has been these first 8 episodes have been really, really good. If it keeps up at that level, then they're going to have no problem being renowned by most people. Again, you're never going to get everyone as one of the better Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows, as maybe the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. The question is, can they keep up at that level? We saw what happened with Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. A lot of people, this would have been a very eligible question for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Will Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 surpass all of the Yu-Gi-Ohs? And my answer 8 episodes in would have been, yeah. That was right after like the Yuto reveal with the duel against Shingo. And that show started off really well as well. So, it's just so tough to say if it will or not, but it definitely can. It definitely can. Just let's hope they keep it up, and let's hope they don't hit like a flat point like 5Ds did. The beginning of 5Ds, the first 50 episodes, and the last 30 episodes were really, really good, I thought. But those middle, 50 episodes, there were some pros. I thought Satisfaction Town, I thought Crash Town was really good. But other than that, there was a lot of forgettable duels, a lot of really weird duels. You could tell that they didn't really know what to do in the middle of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and let's just hope that doesn't happen with Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Number 2, is Yusaku on the Yusei level, and is he a better protagonist than Yuma and Yuya? Again, very subjective. I think so. I think he's on the Yusei level because of the maturity, and I think people who are looking for an older character can relate to him well. I had trouble relating to Yuma and Yuya personally because of their age, and I know that might sound a little dumb because they're only like 3 years younger, but I personally like the more older looking protagonist. But if there's someone who likes the younger, kid-friendly, happy protagonist, then they're going to like Yuma and Yuya, and a lot of people do like Yuma. A lot of people like Yuma for that, for his innocence, and for the development and the growth that he has throughout ZeXal. So, again, that's another very opinionated question. At the moment, I do like him more than Yuma and Yuya. I mean, I might even like him more than Yusei, who's my favorite protagonist. But that could change, and again, that's just my opinion. Other people will, I'm sure, have different opinions on the matter down below. Number 3, is Aoi the next Aki? I really hope so. I loved Aki. She's one of my favorite characters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Aoi seems to be complex. She seems to have a very dark, maybe not a dark past, well, yeah, a dark past, growing up with her parents being killed seemingly in the car accident, and a brother who never cares about her. I've done so much coverage and so much analysis on Aoi Aizen, but I think she could definitely surpass Aki and be the greatest female character we've had in Yu-Gi-Oh! To this point. Yami Yusaku asks, how do you think Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds would have been had they made Kiryu more of a main character after the Dark Signers arc? Maybe he was there instead of Crow. Well, that's interesting, and again, I'm someone who never really liked Crow. I don't know what it is about him, but I never loved his character, and maybe it's because originally Aki should have been that third protagonist. That was the main plan. It was going to be Yusei, Jack, and Aki versus Godwin, or actually versus Crow. Godwin wouldn't have even been that final boss, and to see what happened with Aki's character after the Dark Signers arc, maybe I indirectly and not deservedly blame Crow on that, and in the back of my head, and that's why I do have hard feelings towards him, even though obviously it's not his fault. It's just the way that things happened after Blackwing sold so well. But I don't know if Kiryu would have really fit that dynamic after what happened. I personally liked Kiryu a lot. I thought his character arc was really well done, so I don't think I would have changed that. There are some people who don't like Crash Town, who don't like that 5-6 episode arc. I personally thought it was a really well done arc. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was in the middle of nothing and it just randomly happened, but I thought it was really well done. That duel with Yusei and Kiryu versus Loten is low-key one of my favorite duels of 5Ds. It's probably in my top 10, so I thought that was well done, so I probably wouldn't have pulled Kiryu from that little 5-6 episode arc, but it's an interesting idea. It would have been interesting had they done that. A lot of 5Ds questions in the in the early going so far. Akaba Reiji, just curious, bro, what's your favorite Funny Subs video? I kind of have an idea of what are the top favorites between the community, but I would like to hear your thoughts on the matter. My favorite Funny Subs video, that's tough. See, I don't think, it's weird because I went on your channel recently, a couple of weeks ago, and maybe this was taken down for copyright reasons, but wasn't there a video, I couldn't find it, that like you superimposed my face over Akaba Leo's face, and you talked about how, NAS was after us or something along those lines. It was so long ago, but like I vaguely remember it, but I couldn't find that video because I remember I loved that video and I've remembered it after all these years. But another video that I remember, it was either part 1 or part 2, or maybe it was both, of I think episode 128 or 129, when Yuya and Reiji are dueling Akaba Leo, and it's like called the return of the Hong Kong subs or something like that, because the Hong Kong subs, if you don't know what they are, in Duel Monsters there was subs that came from, I guess, Hong Kong. I don't even know what the story behind it too well, but the subs were absolutely atrocious. You can still find some of those subs on like GoGo Anime and Kiss Anime, and even on YouTube. Like, I know the clip of Yugi summoning the Dark Magician Girl are those subs, because the subs are horrible, and there are some hilarious just lines that make absolutely no sense. And I remembered the fact that you just played on that so well, and Akaba Reiji's like, you can't ruin my reputation. That was really funny. And I think there was one point where the Bracelet Girls are like talking, and I think the only line Rin has in that episode is, "Please notice me," which sums up her character so well. That literally if you had to pick one sentence to sum up Rin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, it would be, please notice me, which is a shame because, again, they could have done so much with her character, but I've ranted on the Bracelet Girls enough, and that was funny. Just so many great videos, and I understand why you're taking a break with Vrains, but I know I speak for a lot of people where I do hope you will tackle Vrains at some point, because we definitely do miss the weekly humor with the funny sub stuff, and hopefully even after maybe like 10-15 episodes, you do what like Little Karibo did with 5Ds, you do like a one-shot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I think it would be really fun, and again, I'm sure the community would love to see it, but I respect you, and I do envy you that you are on, that you are taking a break, so, you know, we can all live on through your funny subs with Arc 5 content at least. Meyer asks, would you like to see Dark Synchro coming back? And also, if you had to create a new upgraded summoning method, like Axel Synchro, double tuning, rank up, what would it be? Damn, again, a lot of 5Ds related questions, maybe because Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is just reminding myself and everyone of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Would I like to see Dark Synchro coming back? I wouldn't mind it. At this point, I would take any synchro. I'd take like an angel synchro, like a completely new made-up method, just to see synchros back, because again, if we see synchros, then that means we might see fusions, and that means we might see XZs. I'm pretty convinced we will not see pendulums because of that board. I did a video on that. I want to see the other methods, but they're clearly going to focus on links, and I don't know if we will see any methods. We've seen fusions in every show, but who knows if we will even see a fusion in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Way too early to say. I wouldn't mind them coming back, and I've gotten this question so much, if I could create a new upgraded summoning method. I feel like there's no, like, fusion summoning method. Like, what about, like, over-the-top fusion, or something along those lines? Because we have it with XZs, we have it with synchros, but again, there's no, like, upgraded fusion, unless there's something I just can't think of. I guess there's super fusion, but I mean, like, you know, that's a card. That's not really an upgraded method. Maybe, like, you have to fuse the fusion monster with another polymerization card or something crazy like that, and you get, like, a new fusion. I don't know. I'm not very creative when it comes to this, and that's because of my lack of knowledge when it comes to the actual card game itself, so I'm probably not the best person to ask, and I feel like I get this question almost every video, but give like, a fusion upgrade some love. I'd love to see something like that. Anna Draws asks, did you know the anime Cardfight Vanguard G? And if yes, what is your opinion? Keep going, your awesome work. Thank you, as always, Anna. I've heard of Cardfight Vanguard. I think they're at like G Gate or Stride Gate or something like that. I might be wrong. I've never watched it. I've never watched it, and I've heard from a couple of friends of mine that they really, from school, that they really do not like the show. I've never given it a chance. A lot of people have told me the older stuff is better, like the original Cardfight Vanguard is really good, and the newer stuff is not good. This is not my opinion, because again, I have not seen the show. I'm not saying the show is bad. That's just what I've heard from people. I haven't heard many good things about Cardfight, which is kind of weird, because it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Cardfight, they're both kind of similar, right? Where they both are card game animes, but I haven't heard good things about Cardfight, so if you guys have watched it, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, I've heard that the older stuff is good, but the newer stuff is really, really poor. But let me know your guys' thoughts on Cardfight Vanguard down below, because I'm surprised I haven't heard more about the show in positive regards from people, but maybe a lot of people just don't really like it. Killer B asks, do you think Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains will make all the other Yu-Gi-Ohs like a TV show? I know Digimon did that at one point. That would actually be hilarious, like Kusanagi's scrolling through the channels in his hot dog truck, and we just see an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Yo, if they did that, that would be the most Inceptionist thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever done. Like, my mind would be blown. I guess for them to do that, we would have to, what would even the theory be? That Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 was like a stage play? That it wasn't even, I know like one of the Super Mario games, that's a big theory, that the whole game is like a play. I think like Super Mario Bros. 3 or something like that. Oh my god, that would be crazy. Or like, it's like maybe on the History Channel and this is what happened in the past. If they did something like that, I would love it. My mind would probably blow up with the overanalyzing I do on a daily basis, and I feel like the community would just go insane. So it would be a very interesting thing if they did something like that. I would love to see it. I don't think they will, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Usually doesn't do that. But then again, they did refer to like the entertainment style dueling as outdated, and they kind of took a shot at Arc 5. So, I mean, if you think that was them taking a shot at Arc 5, it might not have been. It might have just been, I don't really know. They were just storytelling the entertainment style, but who really knows? It would be awesome if they did something like that, though. Michael Seagal asks, if some of the staff writers from My Hero Academia worked on Arc 5, could they have been able to handle the big cast in the series better, or would it have been a crazier show? So, that's a very good question. I love My Hero Academia. I actually do weekly reviews. I've done a couple reactions on Dylan from Anime, which is always linked down below. So if you are into the show and watch the episodes on a weekly basis, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to talk to me about the show over there, because it's much appreciated as always. And the show has been very good. The reason I don't know if they would have been able to handle it better is because My Hero Academia, along with a lot of animes, are based on the manga. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and most Yu-Gi-Ohs except Duel Monsters, did not follow the manga. So, I don't want to say their job is easier, but when you're following a manga to suit, and you're following an already made story, it's a lot different than having to make up a story from the anime perspective. And it's funny because a lot of people who have read the My Hero Academia manga have praised the anime endlessly. Some people have even said they prefer the anime to the manga, which is baffling because a lot of people are always like, oh, the manga was better. It's like that meme when you leave a movie and there's always that one guy who's like yelling, the book was better, which literally happens in every like Harry Potter movie you go see. But Arc 5 can't be like that, and no Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be like that because they're not following a manga. So I don't know if their staff writers would have done better with Arc 5 had the main mangekin for My Hero Academia, I forget his name, been on the cast list. Like had the manga writer been the Arc 5 writer for the anime, then I think, because that guy, My Hero Academia has a crazy amount of characters, and from what they've shown in the anime, they've handled those characters brilliantly. They've built up most of those characters very well, introduced them all very well, very fluently, and I think he would have been able to utilize what he did with that manga for the Arc 5 anime, and I think he probably would have been able to write it in a much better way, just with how good My Hero Academia is and how much praise that show has gotten. So yeah, I think if the mangekin worked on the Arc 5 anime, probably and that could have actually been, upon rereading your question, what you were asking. So, there's a big cast is not impossible to work with, but if you don't make it work, like Arc 5 did not make it work, then that is always going to be the main issue. It's like, well, why did you make the cast so big? They obviously thought they could handle it, they couldn't handle it, and it just kind of, those last 10 episodes really imploded with pretty much the entire fandom, which is a shame to see. It really is a shame. Herito Locke asks, what are your thoughts on the anime industry's current condition in Japan, and how do you think it will affect Vrains and future Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime? Asking about the declining wages and money put into the industry and pay for VAs, animators, and studios specifically. Also, thoughts on other animes you're watching right now, if it applies. One Punch Man, incredible, can't wait for Season 2. My Hero Academia, incredible. We still have 10 episodes left, hope they announce a Season 3. Those are the two that I've watched recently and am watching in My Hero Academia's case. With Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not too familiar with the issues going. I probably should be a little more not ignorant on that. I've heard from a lot of people that the anime industry is not in a great place right now, and as you just said, the declining wages are obviously, and I guess the declining money put into the industry, that's obviously a concern, because, well, if your budget's not as high, the show's not going to be as well. I haven't really seen that affect shows like My Hero Academia. I feel like that show is done very well, and I'm just hoping that Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, because a lot of people have said, well, the animation is something I never really take note to, hasn't been great. And so I wonder if the animators that have done the episodes that people are kind of being critical of, if they're like new animators and they're forced to use newer, not as experienced animators because of the budget problems. Another thing to note is almost everyone, I know Ignis and Revolver's voice actors, not the case, but almost everyone is like brand new in terms of voice acting and voice actressing to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I think that's worked out well. I think Yusaku has a great VA. I think Aoi's VA did a great job, especially in episode 7. So I don't think that's really a problem. There's no VA actually that I think has done a bad job so far with Vrains. But I'm not, if you do see this, Haruto, because I know you asked 2 months, I'm not sure if you're still around because I don't recognize your username. So thank you for the question. But if you could let me know other issues, or just like anyone actually, just link me an article to give me more information about these issues, I would greatly appreciate it, because I am a bit ignorant on it, and it's probably something I should be more aware of, considering I do love anime, and I have 2 different anime channels going on. So yeah, sorry I can't answer it more intelligently, but hopefully that answer is good enough for now. King Kryptonite with the Mario Odyssey hype. How could a Yu-Gi-Oh movie with every main protagonist go? Like Bonds Beyond Time, could a tournament featuring them and the big baddies of the movie be cool to watch? Well, it would be awesome to watch, but the problem is it would probably be like a 3-hour movie. It'd be very tough to build a story like they did with Dark Side of Dimensions and then show all 6 protagonists duel, or even if you want to leave Yusaku out, show all 5 protagonists duel against 5 villains. That is going to be very tough, because if every duel is like 15 minutes, that right there in itself is an hour and 15. So if you build up the story for 15 minutes, you're already at a 90-minute movie. I guess it could technically work, but every character would really only have 1 duel, and it would be like, I don't know. It would be very tough to do a movie like that. Bonds Beyond Time, I thought, had a lot of issues, mainly because there were 3 protagonists, even though I loved it, and it was, it was the most blatant fan service you'll ever get, but it's going to be tough for them to utilize 5, maybe 6 main characters and give them all appropriate attention and all good development and build a good story. And before the duels, it would be very, very tricky. And like, how would they all kind of come together? Would it be through time travel? They already kind of did that gimmick. I guess that'd be the only way it would happen, though. So I don't know. It would be tough for them to write something like that. Honestly, I can't even think of how they would go about it. If someone wants to write maybe a start for the movie down below, I'd be very interested in reading it. It would be awesome to see, to answer your second part. I don't know how it would work, though, and how it would go, because again, it would be a lot of main characters in maybe a 90-minute, 120-minute movie. It would be kind of a cluster bundle, and it would be tough to pull off, I think. Dominicis X asks, do you like the TCG? If you like it, what deck do you play? I like the card game. I really do like the card game. I haven't played in a while because I'm just waiting for the link format, and then maybe I'll play it a little more. I haven't played it in probably like a month or so. My favorite deck to play is definitely Red Eyes. I love Red Eyes. It's probably my favorite card, and I love the deck as well. Shadal Trains. I like to play Shadal Trains, and here's my issue with the TCG. I think this is more the OCG, but you play a game on YGO Pro, and you get someone who's using, I'm playing Red Eyes. I'm playing for fun, and Red Eyes to me is a lot of fun. And I guess some people like to play meta because it's fun, or maybe they're practicing for nationals, whatever it may be. And you run into someone who's playing Zodiacs. All right, you're going to lose. Like, I'm running Red Eyes. I'm running Shadal Trains. I know I'm going to lose to Zodiacs, more likely than not. And I don't mind that, because when you play a deck like that, you don't expect to win every single time, and, even though when you go into a duel, obviously you want to win, but what I hate is how long some of these turns take. A Zodiac deck sometimes takes like 15 minutes for one turn. Then you take your turn, you go for 2-3 minutes, you end your turn, and then they go again for another 15 minutes, and you've just spent a half an hour of your life watching this guy do these insane combos. Synchrons is my favorite example. I was playing this one guy, and I know I've told this story before, but it absolutely just makes me laugh. He had a 40 card deck, or it was a 50 card deck. It was 40 or 50, and after his first turn, he had 13 cards left in his deck. He went through 27 or 37, because I don't remember if it was 40 or 50, of his cards, and the turn, I timed it, took like 20 minutes. It took, I think, like 19 minutes and 15 seconds. And it's like, I don't even want to play at that point. I don't even want to play. I feel like I've just wasted an hour of my day watching you do these crazy combos. And so that's the one thing I really don't like about the card game. And I'm hoping links, even though I'm sure people will find ways to break it, because it always seems to happen, will slow the game down, will make these combos less insane, because I don't have fun playing meta. I don't have fun playing decks like that. I don't have fun saying, all right, well, I'm going to take a 15-minute turn. Look at all these crazy combos I can do. To me, that's not fun. It should just be like how it is in the anime. You draw, you play a face-down card, you set 2 cards, you end your turn. Like, those are the kind of duels that I much prefer, rather than seeing someone go for 25 minutes, another person go for 20 minutes. We're an hour into our duel. I've taken 2 turns, you've taken 2 turns, but your turns have been 50 minutes each. It's just, that's the part of the game that I really dislike, and that's the part of the game that prevents me, also because I don't really know many people that play in real life, that prevent me from playing in real life, because it's just very long, and it can get very boring very fast. After 4 minutes into a crazy combo, and that they're not even a quarter of the way done with their turn, I usually just leave my computer and do something else, or I leave the tab, and then I'll check back in like 10 minutes and they're still doing their turn. That's the part of the game that I really don't like. But like, if you play with a friend who's not using a crazy deck like that, who's not using Synchrons or Zodiacs, those are the 2 that come to mind, then it's a lot of fun. Then I have a lot of fun playing, and that's what it is. Like, you gotta play for fun. You don't, I don't know. That's how I feel about the card game, but I'm sure there will be people that disagree with me on that. Wolf for Smash Bros. I am watching ZeXal for the first time. Just finished ZeXal 1. It's very slow up until 3 versus Yuma. How do you think they could have made the first 45 episodes more interesting? Because once the duel starts, it is really good till ZeXal 1 ends. While watching the first 45 episodes, the show is very forgetful up until that point for me. That's and I think a lot of people would actually agree with you on that, because ZeXal has a very good second half of ZeXal 1. Not even a second half, lasts like 20 episodes. But a lot of people don't like ZeXal because of the start it goes off to, and because of how bad the dub was. And I think that kind of sucks for ZeXal, because it gets very good after the first 45 episodes. How could the show have been better? I would have put a lot less focus on, like, the numbers club. Even Yuma's a character that I know a lot of people don't really, well, he's a polarizing character. People either really like him or really don't like him. I love ZeXal because I think it's low-key one of the darkest stories in Yu-Gi-Oh!, in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially the Baryon arc with all their past and everything. And the side characters were all incredible. 3 was an incredible character. The Arclight brothers were incredible characters. Kaito, Shark, incredible. And the Numbers Club, every character in the Numbers Club and Yuma, I really didn't like. I really just didn't like them. And Yuma grew on me as the show went on, and now I'll say I don't mind Yuma. I think he was vital for what ZeXal was trying to do. You needed someone like upbeat. Like, Yuma really wouldn't work in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, just like Yusaku would not work in Yu-Gi-Oh! ZeXal. Like, that dynamic just doesn't work. So you needed a character like Yuma, and I do understand that, and I do respect that. It was also something new, because up until this point, we didn't really have a kid. We didn't really have a young guy as the protagonist, so I was down for that. I was down to see how that was going to go. But I think that's the problem. Those first 3-4 dozen episodes, you do have to trek through it, because there's a lot of characters that I just think are very forgettable. I don't even remember a lot of, I know their looks. I know you had kind of the Weevil look-alike in the Numbers Club. You had the guy with blue hair, but there were a lot of characters that are just forgettable. I don't even remember their names, and I think it would have been better had they focused maybe more on Kaito and Shark instead of the Numbers Club, the dynamic between those 3. I think that would have been cool. Maybe not have Rio, even though I guess that was kind of the need for it, because Rio was someone who I really did like in ZeXal. She's actually low-key one of my favorite females in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Kotade is maybe one of my least favorites in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I would have liked to see Rio, but then again, you kind of need Rio to be in the condition she's in for Shark's motivations and to hype up the duel between him and 4. So it's tough. It's tough. That's why I always say to people who watch ZeXal, just get through the first 60 episodes and you'll be in okay shape, because it's tough to do it, or the first 40 episodes, really. Because I know so many people that give up on episode 10, episode 20, episode 30, and then they say, oh, ZeXal was horrible, but you didn't get to the point where ZeXal gets really good. That's like stopping at Arc 5, or that's like watching Arc 5's last 13 episodes and saying, oh my god, Arc 5 was disgustingly horrible. Right, but if you watch it in full, it's not that bad. So it's tough. You guys let me know. How would you have rewritten the first 45 episodes of ZeXal? I would have liked to see more focus on Kaito and Shark. Maybe have another character, scrap the Numbers Club, because I really did not like that dynamic, but that's just me personally. Flash Greninja, if you were a character on My Hero Academia, what kind of quirk would you want to have? Either a quirk another character has or pick your own. I would love... See, I like the Invisible Girl quirk a lot. I love the Invisible Girl quirk. It just kind of sucks that she is always invisible. At least that's what we know, she's always invisible. So, that kind of sucks. If I would like a quirk where you can be invisible for like 10 seconds. I think that would be awesome. And like anything you're touching is invisible too. So like your clothes are invisible. If you're in a fight with like another hero, you can turn him or her invisible so that they can stay invisible as long as you're touching them, and that would give you like a huge advantage in battle. I like the Invisible Girl quirk. I would kind of mutate it a little more to be more favorable for me and for other people, because it's kind of useless if you're always invisible. It's not useless, but it's like, it could be a lot better. So I like that dynamic, but I would kind of increase it to be a lot better. But that was a good question. I like those those kind of creative out there questions. Dev Duelist, I hope you're enjoying Vrains so far. I absolutely am. My question is, what are your thoughts on the speed duel style dueling within Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, especially with the skill feature? Do you think it will become a gimmick like action cards, or could this become an interesting feature within the game? This was asked a month ago, so now we kind of have a more understanding of speed duels and the skills. I love the skills when they first showed them off, because I thought Yusaku would use a different skill every duel, and I still hope that happens where he has more skills than Storm Axis, because right now it's already starting to feel repetitive, and we're only 3 duels into the show, and it's starting to feel repetitive. Like, you know he's going to go down under 1,000, he's going to use Storm Access, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff every time, and I hope they change that. It would suck if you're only able to use one skill, and that's it, and you can never change your skill. Because if that's the case, then it is going to start feeling like action cards, where every time Yugioh drew, it was Evade or Miracle. And that is the last thing we as fans want to see. So Yusaku needs to use different skills, I think, and I think they need to use more skills. We've seen a good amount of skills so far, but I'd like to see more creative ones for Yusaku at least, and I think that will happen. I think it is an interesting feature. I just hope it doesn't become overdone and overkill and turn into those pesky action cards, as you mentioned, Dev. The Exilth Scorch Q&A. What you said earlier in the video about working with others on group channels, are you considering expanding the workforce for your Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything channel? I can see the downside because you've blown up, gained over 15k since I first saw you, and that may seem like your channel is for you and by you. The upside being that you could put out more content with different points of view. What do you think? Well, that's interesting, but I don't remember in the last Q&A me talking about another group channel. I might have maybe misspoke, or maybe you misheard that when I announced Dylan from Anime that was only going to be me. Maybe I did say at some point that there will be others on that channel. At the moment, I don't plan to expand the workforce of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and the main reason for that is I do the podcast, and I feel like that's a good time for people to give other opinions, and also in the comments section, which a lot of people comment in, that's also a good forum for people to give their thoughts. I hope I don't sound arrogant, but I like to think that the people who are on Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything are kind of here to maybe hear my thought. Now, that's a very arrogant thing to say, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't want to add 3 or 4 more people, and then, oh, well, now I don't have to make a video for 2 weeks, and the people who are subscribed to me, maybe they don't like what the other 3 are saying, or maybe they just don't like the style of the other 3 people on the channel, and they leave the channel because of that, because now I'm only making 2 videos every, like, month or something like that. So, the upside is, yes, I can get out more content. The downside is I'm now sharing it with 3 or 4 people, which also means the revenue, which isn't great, it's YouTube revenue, but I can see, especially when those 2 videos blew up, a possibility of maybe doing this full time. That gets cut in third, or that gets cut in quarters, and there's no way I'll be able to ever do this full time if that's the case. So at the moment, I'm not even considering expanding the workforce. It's an interesting idea, but I'm not considering it at all. If anything, I'd open a new channel with other people. That's a group channel from the start, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything will almost definitely stay just my channel for the foreseeable future. RuroKen88, favorite jokes, memes, funny scenes from each of the Yu-Gi-Oh series. One of mine would be the running gag. Yeah, that's that's mine in Arc 5 too, of Yugo's name being confused with Yugioh, Japanese word for fusion. That's probably the best from Arc 5. From Duel Monsters, it's either all the friendship stuff. The Pot of Greed stuff gets me every time because it's such an it's such an easy to remember card. And in the dub, I don't know if they did it in the sub. I actually can't remember, but they always said the effect of freaking Pot of Greed. So that joke and meme is probably my favorite from from all of Yu-Gi-Oh. I Love NL asks, I recently rewatched your top 5 female leads, and I wanted to ask, geez, I forgot about that video. Is Yuzu still your number 2 favorite? At that point in time, no one could have foreseen the treatment Arc 5 was going to have for its characters. I guess I'll say it, I don't really like to talk about where I rank characters unless it's in that video. But I don't think I'm going to redo that video anytime soon. Maybe I'll do like top 10 females, just generally speaking, because obviously My Valentine and Rio I prefer more than some of the female leads we've had. Yuzu has actually dropped to 4 for me. She is number 4 on the list. She dropped below Anzu. I think that's a big shock to a lot of people when they find out I rank Anzu so high. Anzu's actually my second favorite female lead. I've said it before, I think her character fit the dynamic of Duel Monsters well. I never got annoyed with her. I know a lot of people got annoyed with her, but in the sub, in the original, she wasn't as annoying as I thought she was in the dub, and I didn't think she was that annoying in the dub. I thought she had a very cheerful attitude. We always knew what her character was going to be. We knew she was going to be kind of that moral support cheerleader. But when she had to duel, she dueled. And again, my favorite fact, she is the only character in Yu-Gi-Oh! History that has dueled at least 3 times and never lost. And that is, you can't take that away from her. Now, yes, the duels were kind of a joke. Mai surrendered. The one against Joey was before he even knew how to duel. And the one against Crump, Dark Magician, helped even though he wasn't even in her deck. But she persevered. She persevered. She won those duels. And I like Anzu a lot. I just do. So she's 2 for me now. Asuka is just ahead of Yuzu. She's 3. And Yuzu has fallen to 4. Kotari is still 5. But yeah, Yuzu is, she's down there for me. Her and Asuka are kind of interchangeable. I guess if I rethought it, and maybe I'll do a top 6 when Vrains ends with Aoi in mind, Yuzu might come out at number 3. Or maybe higher, depending on how, maybe number 4 or 5, depending on how Aoi. Right now, Aoi is on pace to be at the Aki level. And Aki is so far ahead of Anzu. Yuzu was the only one that had a chance of touching her, and we know what happened with her. So, yeah, but then again, just my opinion. Austin Colback asks, I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything and is ready for Vrains. What out of all now 5 series is the best tournament arc, and what elements for that arc would you like to see in Vrains? Yeah, we almost always get a tournament arc in Shonen and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm expecting one for Vrains. I honestly don't mind tournaments. I really don't. I know that's kind of another unpopular opinion when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle City, if that tournament wasn't interrupted, let's just get rid of the interruption with the Noah Virtual World arc. That is the best tournament arc Yu-Gi-Oh! Has done. Battle City was incredible. Just so many memorable duels. And I liked the Final 4 when they all dueled each other to find out who was going to be in the finals. Or the semifinals. It was kind of like a tease, like, you know, a little preview of what to expect. So I'd like to see that element still applied. And yeah, I don't mind tournament arcs. I really don't. Akira Kurusu, what or who do you think is going to be the second villain of Vrains? P.S. I already subbed to your second channel when you first mentioned it. Well, thank you very much. It means a lot. That's a good question. We don't even know who the first villain... I guess the first villain technically is the Knights of Hanoi, is Revolver. The second villain is probably going to be Soltec. And this again was asked 2 months ago. I think the 6 chess pieces of Soltec are definitely the front runners, if there are even 6 pieces, to be the main villains of the second portion of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Berserk Yugioh, Q&A, will you ever make Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro vids? You did say you were addicted to it. I'm not as addicted to it as I was 2 months ago, but I don't plan to. So many people do YGO Pro videos, and like that's Mega Capital G. I know he does Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro videos a lot, and I probably won't. That's why I'm showing the Mario Kart footage instead, just because I feel like everyone does Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro videos, and I don't want to be like everyone. I kind of want to have a little different style, so I don't plan to make YGO Pro videos anytime soon. And that about wraps it up. So thank you guys so much for all of the questions. Again, I apologize because I know there's a few questions that probably a good amount that I did not get to. Please leave all your questions down below because I will be doing another Q&A before July comes to an end. And I do hope to answer your question. And again, I am sorry if I did not get to your question in this video, but thanks as always for asking. Again, thanks for 20,000 subscribers. Still unbelievable that we hit that number on the 1-year anniversary of the channel. Thanks to an amazing first year of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and hopefully year 2 is just as, if not even more, successful and fun and thought-provoking as the first one was. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're still watching to this point, you're amazing. I mean, we're like 45, 50 minutes into the video. You guys really are amazing for watching to this point and for supporting me, as always. Even if you're not watching, you're still amazing, even though if you heard that, you are watching. So it doesn't really apply. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling. Have an amazing day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you down below.